What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're continuing both our Christopher Nolan and Dark Knight trilogy marathon, and we're looking at probably the most beloved film in the trilogy. It's The Dark Knight, starring Christian Bale, the late Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, and much more. The first time that I reviewed it was in 2008, right after I saw it for the first time during a midnight showing, and I released that as part of my VO review series from all those years ago. Here's a snippet of that review.
Evening, Commissioner. Here's my cards. Let's get this party started. Come on, hit me. A little fighting ya. I like that. Freedom to leave.
Can't believe you keep on beating me. What's up with that?
It's all part of the plan. Here's the review.
And then I posted a written review 7 years later in 2014 on my website, Dave Examines Movies. And what's interesting about both of these reviews is that my opinion on it hadn't changed at all. My scoring method had all 3 times. But even though my scoring method has gone from 5 stars to 100, I don't really have that much to add about it. All I can really do is expand on what I've already said in the past when we talk about this phoenix of a film, and let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, phoenix, a person or thing regarded as uniquely remarkable in some respect, or in the case of The Dark Knight, in every respect. Batman is trying to clean the city up in The Dark Knight and hand the baton to Harvey Dent, a district attorney who is able to clean up the streets of Gotham without needing to be in the shadows. There's only one problem with that. A lunatic that calls himself the Joker is planning death and destruction, and Batman must deal with him before he can retire the cape. We're breaking this thing down based on my rating category just because it's so good in so many ways that it's easy to overlook several areas when you review this movie. A lot of people will just say watch it because of Heath Ledger putting on an unforgettable, iconic performance. And sure, he absolutely does. He is without a doubt one of the most standout parts of the film and can, and most likely will, blow your mind. But a lot of things will get lost in his shadow when you do that. And it's important to look at every aspect of the film just to reiterate how good it is. Let's take a look at the people category, which covers the acting, characters, casting, individual importance of the characters, and their chemistry together. This one's pretty big because of the Joker, obviously, but it's important to note that everybody does a great job here too. Aaron Eckhart is vital to the direction of the film, and he does a great job. Michael Caine as Alfred, Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox, Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel. So many great performances here. They shouldn't be overlooked. But of course, Heath Ledger put on a performance of a lifetime, which makes it that much sadder to know that this could have boosted his career if he didn't pass away. One of the most interesting aspects of the film is that typically I wouldn't actually like a character like Joker because he is just so aimless in his direction. Personally, I like characters that are trying to do specific things and find value in what they're doing. And the Joker is famously a character that doesn't care about any of that. But my argument is that he is so smartly written that he actually does have a goal. It's just not typical. And so he's wearing the mask of a man that's indifferent. Here's a scene from the film that kind of touches this specifically.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. I just do things. The mob has plans. The cops have plans. Gordon's got plans. They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are.
In the Joker's mind, my favorite type of character is a schemer. Batman is a schemer, and because the Joker tries to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are, that's his goal. That's what makes him a schemer. That is what he's doing, meaning that his character is important, just not in the traditional sense, thus making his character super smart and super original in its approach. The people category got perfect remarks. Next up is the writing category, going over the dialogue, balance of the film, story depth, originality, and how interesting the concept is. This is Christopher Nolan, so it was almost guaranteed to be full points anyway, and it is, but this is one of the 2 Christopher Nolan films which I feel is written better than any of the others anyway, just because of how many things will stick with you. Dialogue is strong for so many reasons here, partially because of the speeches that Michael Caine always gives, that Harvey Dent gives, and especially for the lines of dialogue that the Joker gives, all of which easily get seared into your memory. Balance-wise, this is a long film, and I've always liked to watch it at night when I would typically be too tired to finish a film, just to remind myself how engaging it is. The balance and pacing of the film is just so good here that you don't notice the runtime because there's a natural progression of events where tensions rise in an incredibly effective manner. Story depth is something that makes you think, and there was always kind of a deeper political stance in these films that fuel the story, and the same definitely applies here as the audience is actually grappled by Batman's desire to pass the baton to Harvey Dent. Even though we love to see Batman do his thing, we feel for him and we understand his sense of value there. So yeah, there's something deep. As far as originality goes, we've seen Batman before. We've seen the Joker before. So how do I consider this original? Because originality in my eyes is the approach to something that we've seen before, especially when we expect something specific out of it and it takes a bold step to do things differently. And you gotta admit, this is unlike any Joker we've ever seen before and since. And amazingly, people immediately accepted his performance. An interesting concept, full points in the writing. The next category is BTS, behind the scenes, which covers visuals, cinematography, editing, advertisement, and the music or sound. Again, all of which got perfect remarks. Both Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were made in such a way that you can't help but call it beautiful. But they also feel different atmospherically in some ways. Visually, you're going to remember this film more, I would say, for makeup, for costume, for visual effects done with the villains. Cinematography, this film is very much an IMAX film that utilized so many different shots to work for an IMAX audience. That's one version of the film I've actually never seen before, but even watching from home, you can tell how IMAX would have looked great just because of the shots in the film that honestly looks immaculate. Editing-wise, it's all about action, which editing often has a problem with showing the audience exactly what's happening, but not here. Everything was crisp and clear and exciting. Music and sound, obviously there's a lot of focus on the musical score here, which gives you goosebumps every time that you watch it. And of course, the sound editing when it comes down to the growling voices of both Batman and Joker. Full points again. Next rating category is the narrative arc, which if you paid attention in English class, looks at the introduction, the inciting incident, the obstacles, climax, and resolution. Once again, we have perfect scores, but it's not really much of a surprise. This rating category is easiest to get full points in because I'm not rating it if it's good or bad, I'm rating it if it exists. Why? Because I'm baffled as to why some movies don't contain these things, because some don't. And when they don't contain them, the film often gets convoluted and messy, but everything here is accounted for. The introduction reacquaints you with Gotham and what's been going on in the world. It shows you that Batman's still kicking tail and freaking out all the mobsters in the city, forcing them to meet during the daytime to avoid Batman altogether. The inciting incident is when the Joker shows up and he says that you're all just a bunch of wussies, let's just go out and kill the Batman. The obstacles comes down to the madness that the Joker throws in Batman's way when all he's trying to do is pass the baton to Harvey Dent. And the climax and resolution, I can't really talk about it because spoilers, but just know that it culminates, it gets to a point of serious contention, and by the end it returns to a new sense of norm. Perfect scores. If you're still watching and paying attention here, all of this adds up to the unbiased technical score of 50 out of 50, which means that my unbiased score is 100%. Let's go on to my bias section, going over the entertainment and specialty categories. Entertainment looks at rewatchability, how much of a good time you have while watching, your impulse to buy or own it, your impulse to talk about or recommend it, and how engaging it is as a whole, which means do you feel like you'll miss something if you go take a pee break? Again, all of these got glowing remarks. I've obviously watched and rewatched the movie countless times. I always get goosebumps when I watch it, so yeah, I have a good time with it. And do I have an impulse to buy it? Not anymore, because I have 2 versions of the movie, so of course I want to own it. Do I have an impulse to talk about it or recommend it? Absolutely. If you say you have not seen it, I will say shame on you. And as for engagement, look, I'll either have to hold my pee or just wet myself because I cannot look away, pause, or anything, meaning it is very engaging. Full points. The specialty category goes over your basic expectations on the movie, and this will probably differ depending on who you are. For me, the biggest things were the fact that it was part of the Dark Knight trilogy, that it was a sequel, and that it was Christopher Nolan. All of which got full points here. This is the best Batman movie that I think I've ever seen. Sequel-wise, it was something that people wanted to see, and it changed things forever. As a Christopher Nolan film, it is among his top 2 in my opinion. As for the last question, that's halfway decent. Did they make the movie that they intended to make for their target audience? The answer there is undoubtedly yes, of course. So everything in the specialty category got full points, which means that the bias score was also 50 out of 50 possible stars, otherwise known as 100%. When we average these two scores together, we come to the final score for The Dark Knight, which is 100%, a perfect film. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this film in the comments down below. Do you also think this is a perfect film? And if not, why do you disagree? As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this review, because there's more like it coming out. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, which is slated to be the next Karate Kid, which I'm supposed to review tomorrow. So don't miss out on that. And until then, peace out.